FlameHero. Combat kitchen fires. Designing a virtual reality experience. According to the National Fire Protection Association, cooking is the leading cause of reported home fires in the United States. Grease fires are the most dangerous type of cooking fire. FlameHero aims to educate its users by recreating a kitchen scenario where players face a fire emergency. Anyone from home cooks to professional chefs can benefit from education, training, and hands-on practice through a virtual reality experience. The use of sketching established a home kitchen environment suitable for a virtual space. Storyboards helped develop a user journey within the VR environment, ensuring that each step was both instructive and engaging. The initial sketches introduced 3 levels of play, where each level introduces a new scenario with new tools to combat the fires. The first level requires users to extinguish the fire by limiting the oxygen to the fire. This is accomplished by covering the fire contained in the pot with a lid. Level 2 incorporates other common, yet less effective kitchen options like water, oil, and vinegar into the scene. This adds complexity and gamification into the experience, where users can experiment in the kitchen to see how each item affects the fire, with the wrong elements causing a larger fire. Originally in Level 3, a fire extinguisher was used to put out the fire. With instructor feedback, this idea was then swapped out for the use of a fire blanket instead of the fire extinguisher, based on the idea that a fire blanket is more suitable for home kitchen fires. Low-fidelity physical prototype testing was done in 2 phases. User testing revealed significant gaps of knowledge about grease fire safety. When faced with a kitchen fire, all participants' first instinct was to reach for water. This is a highly unsafe practice, as water contains oxygen that actually fuels the fire. This highlighted the need for better education on the proper techniques of battling a fire in the kitchen. During the first round of testing, users were faced with all 3 fires simultaneously, which led to the participant becoming overwhelmed, causing hesitation and anxiety in the kitchen. For the second round of testing, participants were faced with individual fires. The model was larger, easier to understand, and had more opportunities for participants to interact. In this model, the user's first instinct was to turn off the burners on the stove. The digital prototype allowed users to navigate a virtual kitchen and interact with items that could potentially extinguish fires. Users can use the VR controllers to drag their choices and release it on the pot. This setup was designed to test users' knowledge and decision-making in fire emergencies in 3 levels of interaction. In Level 1, participants were placed in a kitchen with a fire on the stove. With a 15-second timer in play, participants were required to find the pot lid and place it on the pot. In Level 2, participants were given more items in the kitchen to combat the fire. A 15-second timer was counting down as the player found the baking soda to put onto the fire. For the third level, the fire took place in the oven. A 15-second countdown timer was active while the participant discovered a fire blanket and covered the fire inside the oven. Controls. Many users did not know how to use the hand controllers to grab and release an object. This caused frustration in the game when time was essential. A tutorial at the beginning of the game would help the user understand the mechanics of the controls. Start with a task. During testing, players were immediately thrown into a situation where the fire and timer had already begun. Players overwhelmingly stated that they were stressed and panicked from the beginning and did not have time to familiarize themselves with the environment. Having players enter the room with the task of cooking food gives the player a purpose. Once the user starts cooking, bacon for example, the grease from the bacon starts a fire. After a short period of time, the smoke alarm goes off, initiating the time countdown to extinguish the fire. Longer timer. Players need to select the correct item to extinguish the fire within a time limit. Feedback indicated that the initial 15-second timer was too stressful, prompting adjustments to allow more exploration and interaction without strict time constraints. The timer would be extended to 30 seconds, starting once the smoke alarm goes off. Objects in play. Some users stated that they didn't know which objects were interactive and which were set decoration. Highlighting interactable items would give instant feedback to the user on which items are available for use. Hints. During testing, nearly all players needed a hint on the first level. Having hints incorporated onto signs on the walls in the kitchen would be a subtle, yet helpful way of relaying important information to the user. Additional educational value. To increase educational value, a knowledge summary pop-up featuring question and answer sessions would be included. Balancing the authenticity of fire scenes with the need to be clear, educational, and entertaining is a challenge. Doing this task in 10 weeks is near impossible. However, participants showed unexpected levels of enthusiasm and effectiveness in learning fire safety through VR. which highlights its potential for real-world educational simulations of complex and life-saving scenarios.